Bitcoin has been consolidating sideways in a very boring manner, while the stock market has actually increased extremely hard in value. So on today's update video, I'm going to be discussing the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, where we're currently sitting in this exact cycle, what does this mean for the near future, the spot Bitcoin ETF institutional buyers of Q2, and many more important charts and patterns I need to discuss on today's update video, including the Bitcoin funding rates and many other great charts I need to discuss on today's update video. So without any further ado, don't forget to once again snap that like button back up of 1000 likes, and let me jump straight away in towards the content. So first of all, guys, I can see across all metrics, not only on YouTube on my channel, but on many other channels, that views across Bitcoin are dropping quite significantly, and this is probably due to the fact that Bitcoin is extremely boring. And yes, we are currently trading still around that $50,000 to $60,000 region, and we're consolidating basically between the high of $62,000 and the low of $56,000, and basically what we're waiting to see is that next breakout on Bitcoin, of course. But this sometimes can definitely take a little bit longer than we are always expecting. So currently we can actually see that the stock market is heavily increasing while Bitcoin is just trading sideways, and this means that we're once again creating a massive divergence with the stock market. Sometimes Bitcoin creates massive bumps towards the upside and the stock market goes down, but this time it is vice versa. The stock market is going up and Bitcoin is just going sideways. So usually whenever this is happening, Bitcoin tends to create a massive rally afterwards to, of course, overtake or come together once again with the stock market. So and that is actually a pretty positive sign in my opinion. And also right now in the imminent short term, we can see that Bitcoin is creating an ascending triangle. We're just waiting to see where the next breakout is going to be heading towards. But I believe the main reason why Bitcoin is not following the stock market so heavily is probably due to the fact that there's still a lot of fear in the market and that people are still thinking Bitcoin is going to be breaking down lower. But before diving in towards the facts why I think this is not going to be happening, let me dive in towards the facts of the 4-year cycle of Bitcoin. And maybe that's a little bit the same, but let me first discuss that. So we can currently see that the Bitcoin 4-year cycle is currently exactly playing out like it was in the previous cycles as well. And basically, if we're going to be looking at all the other times that we were 8% in towards the Bitcoin halving cycle, we started to see that Bitcoin was somewhere about to start to create that big bull run after. I believe that still, if we're going to be looking also at the previous cycle, we maybe still have like 60 days left before that cycle is really going to get started once again. And then if I'm also going to be looking at the 4-year cycle in terms of charts and overlaying them all over each other, you can currently see that if you're looking at where the current Bitcoin price is sitting and comparing it towards all these other prices of those previous cycles, we are still in the beginning stage and the most exponential rally is still yet to come. And we're moving in a very similar pace and a very similar structure like we have in those previous cycles. So is there really a thing to be worrying about right now? Personally, I don't really believe so, and I think that still the majority of the gains are still yet to come. And then if we're looking at this interesting tweet from Vetle Lande, he is tweeting about institutional ownership of Bitcoin ETFs grew solidly in Q2 2024. So after the most recent filings that they had to disclose who is holding spot Bitcoin ETFs and what they're holding, we learned that more than 262 new institutions bought Bitcoin in Q2 2024, and also the total Bitcoin ETF asset under management has significantly increased in Q2. Millennium remains to be the largest spot Bitcoin ETF holder, but some new names occurred like Goldman Sachs, which is of course the 7th largest bank out of the world, which right now is also holding Bitcoin. Guys, there is definitely a fundamental shift happening right now across the wider market that these large-scale banks out of the US are literally buying spot Bitcoin ETFs and holding Bitcoin as reserve. Maybe out of panic that Bitcoin is indeed going to become so big, or maybe it's out of panic that the US dollar is going to collapse. But anyways, this is actually a very good thing what we're currently seeing. So diving a little bit deeper in towards Bitcoin, while actually these very bullish developments are happening, these banks are buying Bitcoin, guys. Literally, banks are buying Bitcoin. And while this is happening, Bitcoin cannot even follow the stock market. So what is exactly happening right here? So what we're looking at right now here is that basically Bitcoin is creating a lower high structure from the daily time frame on the top side, and we are creating lower lows on the lower side as well. So people are looking at this trend as an extremely bearish trend. And to be very honest, if we're looking at this trend, the trend is clearly bearish on the daily perspective, also on the 4-hour. But what we need to be looking at right now on the daily is that Bitcoin is going to be finding somewhat of support around this very important green box here, which I pointed out in many videos before we even touch this level, because I pointed out that this is going to be the most important support for Bitcoin, and if we break below it, I think we're going to come down to $50,000. But like you can see, we have not broken below it, and currently we're actually flipping this level into support. And if we can flip this level into support, guys, we could start to potentially create a new trend here on Bitcoin, and that would mean a higher low structure on the daily time frame. And if we then confirm the break above this previous red box here, we're also going to confirm a break above the previous high in the market, and that would change the structure for good. And if the structure is going to be changing on the daily time frame, maybe then we're going to see more investors running towards the market and push the prices higher. And while all this is happening, the price is also really getting suppressed by the amount of short positions that are currently still getting loaded on the market and that are currently active on the market. And it's not only Bitcoin, but many altcoins are heavily getting shorted right now here, and this is the reason why the market is still compressed and why I still believe ultimately the biggest breakout is still yet to come. So most of the times whenever Bitcoin is dropping, it is usually not the fact that people are actually selling Bitcoin, but that people are shorting Bitcoin, and that is what we can currently see here. Bitcoin is heavily getting shorted, and that is why the prices are really getting compressed right now here. So whenever those short positions are going to get closed out in the markets are going to be bouncing. And whenever they're going to be bouncing, we could be creating a higher high in the market. And if we're creating that higher high, including the higher low, then I believe a big reversal for Bitcoin could be happening. But I want to be pointing out, if Bitcoin is going to be creating a lower low right here, I'm going to be opening up a new trade. Otherwise, I'm not going to be doing so, because I am interested in buying Bitcoin long positions around $49,000 to $51,000. But if we're not going to be hitting this level, I'm not going to be opening up any new trade here. So if you want to be staying up to date about my next trade, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because if this is going to be happening, you will be the first one to know how I'm exactly going to be opening up this trade. If you really want to be claiming a free trade, guys, which you can claim a free $500 airdrop position. Go to the link description of today's video, press on the highest link in the description, and then sign up an account to Bybit right here, where you can currently claim a free $500 airdrop position for Bybit right now here. Further on, we can currently see that actually yesterday we saw some more inflows on the spot Bitcoin ETF, only $35 million, not anything big here. And yes, still Grayscale is seeing outflows yesterday, about $72 million. So the more outflows Grayscale is going to get, eventually those outflows are going to be running out, and whenever that is done, that is of course going to be the point where we're going to be seeing even less sell pressure in that spot Bitcoin ETF here. So still, we are having about, what is it, $18 to $17 billion of cumulative flows on the spot Bitcoin ETF. So massive amounts of Bitcoin is already bought, but I believe that still the majority of the buys are still yet to come here. And so far, the spot Bitcoin ETF has been extremely successful. So looking at Bitcoin right now on the weekly time frame, we're still consolidating. The weekly candle is looking extremely healthy. At the same time, we can see that on the hash ribbons, we're currently seeing a buy signal getting flashed there. This is a historical signal which is currently flashing after the halving, and the last time this signal flashed after the halving, Bitcoin went up. But basically every single time this signal flashes in general, the price of Bitcoin always rises. Not immediately like over here, because this time around it went up over here, but then it took like 4 or 6 weeks before Bitcoin eventually went towards the upside. So sometimes it can take a little bit longer, just like it currently is here, because the buy signal is flashing. Bitcoin has been going sideways for 3 weeks in a row, sorry. And I believe that after a certain amount of time, Bitcoin is indeed going to be pushing up higher. So the hash ribbons are flashing a buy signal, showing us there is even more interest from those miners of still mining more Bitcoin around this level, still allocating more electricity basically and mining power at these prices. So there is still a lot of interest from miners, and that is why I ultimately think Bitcoin is also still going to be going higher. Bitcoin is creating a massive bull inverse head and shoulders pattern, and the moment this is going to be breaking out, we're going to be seeing absolute fireworks. So guys, this is it for me in today's update video. There are not a lot of things happening, I do know it, but whenever the break is going to be happening, it's probably going to be delayed for you. So make sure to pay attention right now here. So anyways, this was it for me in today's update video. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to slap the like button, subscribe to the channel, and see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.